So I finally managed to get my journal in with me where I can show you the testing that I did for the band, where I wanted to see if you could actually use this as a edge around a page, and it is possible. As you can see, I've done in fact two different ones. They maybe look the same, but they are slightly different. In the first one here, I've done the line that runs up, which is just like the band that I showed you in the last video, runs up and creates this curvy shape with the points, and then it comes round and continues making the curvy shapes with the points, as you can see. And then it comes round and creates this line that just sort of weaves through the band all the way down to the bottom here. In order to make this one, you would need to draw up 13 dots in a straight line running down. Remember to space them evenly apart. And then the next row of dots has 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That means that you have essentially one more dot in the next line, and then the dots in between in your square sections, you have 12 of those. Then in order to come across, you need to have 9 dots in your top line. Then you need to have 10 dots in your next line down, and 8 dots in between in your squares. So the top dot in your line with 14 becomes the first dot counting towards the 9. First dot in your line of the 13 becomes the first dot in your line of 10, and they should sit, all these dots should sit exactly opposite your dots with 9, with a line with 9 dots. And then you have your dots that kind of describe the center of each of the squares you've made. There should be 8 of those. And then you go through and put your stops in place, and you start, I would start at the bottom, creating a line across and then a line coming up. Then you basically jump up a square, and then you create your stop, and then you jump a little center dot, and then you create a line and a line coming across. So a line across and a line coming up, jump a center square, and then create another set of stops, jump a dot and create another set of stops, jump a dot, create another set of stops, and then you're at the top of your 13, at number 13, and then you have your 14th dot up here. Here you're creating a line across to create a stop, a line that comes up connecting dot 13 and dot 14, and then you're creating a stop from the first dot in your line of 9 to the second dot. So this is quite important that you get this right. Then you jump a center dot and you create your first stop with your line coming down, then a line coming across, jump your center dot, and then you create a line coming up and a line across, jump a center dot, and then you create a line coming down and a line going across, jump your center dot, and create a line coming down. And this way you should be able to actually create this band in one single motion with your line. The reason that I've done this other band over here is simply that the actual rhythm of this band is different from this band here, and it's because you can create the stop at the top in a different way. So you see here the stop is going across, up and across, whereas in this band here it's actually going across, up, and then another line across. So different stop at the top here. It's simply a question of what you like, but basically what happens is that whereas the line, as you're moving around here, continues with the same rhythm with this stop, when you're coming around over here with this line, it creates a different rhythm at the top. Here it weaves. If you want to try and do this one, it follows exactly the same idea as this one here. You just draw up 17 dots and then 18 dots, and then put your center dots in. There should be 16 of those, and then that will give you this band here, which is a different rhythm. The last band I want to show you is a band that you can also work with if you want to go all the way around your page. Here I've done an example where you can see that it actually is using 2 lines. So the red line is separate from the purple line. You need 2 lines in order to complete this, whereas here and here you only need the 1 line. This is complex, I appreciate that, but this is one you can do, you can try out if you like. In this band here, you need to first draw up 9 dots in your first line of dots, evenly spaced. Then you want to draw up 11 dots. So then you draw up your dots sitting exactly across from your 9 dots, bar the top dot obviously and the bottom dot, but you want to space them so that they are the same distance as the distance the other dots have. And then you want to draw in your 8 dots, and I haven't put a dot here in this quadrant or in this quadrant, and that's simply because they're not going to get really captured by the line as such. You're not going to have a line crossing to separate them. So I've just left them out. You can put them in if you like. And then what you do once you've drawn up these first dots is you just continue round. So then the top line here, where you have your 11th or your first dot here and your 11th dot down here, the first dot here is the first dot of 9, and then the first dot of the 9 that are running down becomes dot number 1, and then you have 11 dots running across here, and then you have 8 dots in the center. So 9 here, then 8 to center, and then 11 here. And then on the other side over here you have the last dot in your top line is the first dot in the line with 11 dots running down, and then you have 9 dots to make the quadrant, the square, and then 8 dots in between. And then the last dot down here is the first dot in the line of 11, which is also the last dot in the line of the first where we had the 9. So 11 dots across, then 8 dots in between, and then 9 dots at the bottom here. I've forgotten to just run through the stops, but I hope you can see them clearly. I should maybe just draw them up quickly here. So here is how your stops should be in your band. And it's actually similar to the one over here. But of course there's a difference here at the side, where over here we just had a stop. Here we have the stop and then it runs out to the side and comes down as well, because we've added the side onto our band. And what you can do, of course, once you've done this, you know, if you draw up your stops with a thin line, then what you can do is you can go in afterwards and erase them with a rubber or an eraser. So I hope that it's clear now that I've drawn up. You can always pause the video and then go in and, you know, make sure that you've got your stops in the right place, and then try and run through your ribbon. That's all for this week. I'm not going to actually run through it because then, you know, the video is going to get extremely long. But I hope that you'll be able to work this out and give it a try. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is it too difficult or did you enjoy it? And I'll be back next week with a new form drawing exercise for you.